here. When something says Jumpman, there's an added responsibility that we feel at the University of North Carolina to show well. Also, didn't think we played very well the last time out. I thought for 3 of those quarters we didn't like really any of our defensive possessions, and really great bounce back to kind of getting back to what we do defensively and made their plan A and B really difficult. The two sitting next to me were, Lanie we trust on offense, and she's really worked hard to get better at her angles and better in her rotations and just better with her block out just on that side of the ball, and I thought she was seamless tonight. And Maria's just a problem. That's just all I can say about Maria. She's just a problem. Really fun to watch her do her thing. So I know you guys want to ask questions to them, and I'll sit back and enjoy.
Okay, first question. Again, one question for the two players right now.
Okay. Marie, you were giving up 3 inches to Kyle. She held her own, got her into foul trouble. What was your strategy against her, and what was so effective for you?
Well, every game I take pride on defense, so knowing that she was their leading rebounder and scorer, I knew that it was going to be a big game for me. But I knew that also I'd have to attack her on offense, get her in foul trouble early, and that's how we, took the lead early.
But you usually don't face players taller than you. Is it a different kind of challenge?
I mean, I have in conference, so I mean I'm used to it with like Cardoso or Kitley. Like I'm used to it now. Yeah.
Barbara?
Yeah, for both Lanie and Maria, like Courtney was saying, kind of got back to what you do defensively. What specifically do you think you guys did, that you kind of got back to today that kind of allowed for you guys to take Florida out of their room?
Yeah, so one of the big focuses was not leaving each other on islands on defense, like, being able to guard our own, but still being in the right positions on defense. And I think that as a team, we defended all 3 of their really good scorers and playmakers really well, and not just one-on-one, but every single player on the floor.
I think our ball screen. I think I have to do a lot on ball screen defense, so making sure that I stay long enough, help the guards out. I know they have really good guards, so be helpful there.
Back to the room, Cam.
This is for the players. You heard Coach talk about, he's got the Jordan brand on it, and it's in your home state. What did it mean to you guys? What was the experience like, and what does it mean to win?
Yeah, this was my first Jumpman tournament game, and it was amazing atmosphere. When you get to come and play on a court like that against a team like that, on a stage like that, it doesn't get much better than that. So I'm happy we could come out, represent Carolina and Jumpman well, and keep it rolling.
Yeah, tournaments like this are kind of the reason I came to UNC. I wanted to play on a big stage in front of a lot of people on national TV, so that's it was a really fun experience. I've been here 2 times now, and we've gotten 2 wins, so we take a lot of pride in coming here.
Go to the left.
Yeah, Lanie, you picked up, I think, 2 fouls pretty quickly in the first half. You played most of the second with 4 and managed that. How did you manage and kind of grapple with, dealing with the foul trouble while still defending at a high level?
Yeah, that's a great question. Normally I don't pick up fouls very quickly, so it was interesting to kind of navigate that, but just being smart, going for things that maybe I shouldn't have, or jumping gaps or maybe I shouldn't have, that put me in bad positions in the first half. So just staying more disciplined. Coach trusted me to play through with some fouls, so that helped obviously. But, yeah.
Second row.
Maria, after the Georgia Tech game, you talked about how you needed to demand the ball more. Do you feel like you did that well and got position well in there?
Yeah, I think it's important for me to demand early on, so that's how I kind of started the game. Getting some low post touches just to get me going, get my confidence going. So that's what kind of fueled me throughout the rest of the game.
Barbara.
Well, you seemed really confident beyond your years on the court, particularly offensively. And can you talk about your progression and adapting to the college game at such a young age?
Yeah, for sure. I take all of my confidence from my preparation and the work that I've known that I put in. And I know that I've logged the hours at Carolina and before I got here. And like Coach said, she's very confident of my skills on the offensive end. So I have the freedom to kind of get my teammates involved and also, look for my own shots. And she said, the biggest adjustment for me has been the defensive end, not even guarding the ball, but being in the right spots off the ball. So I think that she continues to push me, all the coaches continue to push me, and if I can keep taking steps every single game to get better at that, then I think we'll just keep seeing this team's overall success grow.
Have we seen your entire offensive arsenal so far?
As long as the team wins, I think that it doesn't really matter for me. I would say that you see glimpses of it. It doesn't have to be a whole 40-minute thing because we have players all over the court that can score, which is nice. It doesn't have to be me every single possession. We have lots of shot makers, one sitting over here, Maria, but, just continuing to play my game.
All right.
We actually was gonna ask you something similar to what Lanie was just saying, that you guys, it seems like pretty much any night you can kind of be a different scorer in your will. I guess kind of with your, experience being around college, how different of a dynamic is that to have a team that, can have, a variety of number one scorers to where there's not like, I guess, a single one throughout the course of the year, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's really fun to play with this group. We have really good team chemistry, so building off the court and building trust within each other has been really important. So I think like night in, night out, we always know that we want to come to win. So it doesn't matter who it is on what given night, but we just want to make sure we get that win. Whoever's like hot, we get to them. So that's just how we roll.
Do you feel like you've played in an offense that's been this balanced when it comes to just an individual's like points per game?
I feel like this season, yeah, it's been a big difference from like, kind of like last year. We made huge like steps over the summer to be a team that flowed offensively and fueled through defense. Yeah.
Second round.
What do you both feel like you've learned about yourselves and your teammates through your tough non-conference schedule?
We learned a lot. Yeah, that's a good question. I think obviously you guys have seen that we've had a really good defensive side to us, and offensively we have everybody we have different people that can score the ball, so I think we're coming together really well. And I think the non-conference really helps set up for, the tough conference games that'll come.
I think that we've learned how to trust each other through hard moments and through adversity, because obviously we're not undefeated, so we've all had to come back and self-reflect, and there's no big personalities on this team that make that difficult, and we continue to grow. So I feel like learning how to trust each other through those moments, I would say.
Any other questions for Maria, Lane? All right, thank you. You guys get back to the locker room.
Thank you, guys.
Any questions for Coach? Nice job. Second, third round there.
Courtney, you held them, I think, 2 3-pointers the whole night, turned them over 20 times. Is that about as good as you can ask from the defense?
Yeah, I think we'll like most of those defensive possessions. Even that late one where they kind of hit that runner in the middle of the floor, that was their third option, their third attack side. So, when this group, I told them before the game, I told them again at halftime, I told them again at the end of the game, I can see it in their eyes when they're going to really defend. And when they really defend, that's so fun because it allows us to show our connectedness, and then the offense can flow from that. So yeah, I think we'll like most of the defensive possessions.
Given that they were averaging 83 points a game, and you held them to a season-low shooting, was this the best defensive effort that you've had?
It's a good question. I think especially considering we didn't think we defended very well on Sunday. So if you add that kind of feeling in your gut, maybe. But I liked how we played in the Bahamas defensively. I like us individually and collectively defensively. What was different about this team is they didn't have, hey, these are kind of their main 7 actions or 8 actions or these actions that we're going to have to, this is how we're going to navigate that, right? This was more off the bounce, highway ball screens, some kind of post-ups on the post. So you had to kind of defend themes, and I thought our guys really did a good job making sure there were no islands out there, either in the low post or on the perimeter.
Third round.
Coach, when people talk about defense, they usually think of like on-ball defense or man-to-man, but you guys had active hands in the passing lanes.
Absolutely.
You're closing out on these shots. Can you talk about the defense you did that wasn't just man-to-man, one-on-one?
Yeah, I thought our angles were great. I know that sounds really basketball-y, but it really comes down to that. I thought our angles were not so great on Sunday, and so we were flat, right? And that means that you're not in help and you're not guarding. You're not really doing anything. You're just on the floor. And our angles were excellent. I think off ball, both 1 and 2 passes away. I thought our contest at the point of the ball was really good. So we made their kind of the passes even into the post were even 6 inches off what they wanted to be, right? And then our contest on our shots, we left our feet. We contested north-south. So yeah, I think you're exactly right.
All right.
Courtney, similar question to what I asked Maria, but I do remember before the season, I think it was at the tip-off, you said that, the leading scorer might be a little bit by committee. It pretty much has been that this year. Is this close to what you kind of envision the offense looking like, just with, the different variety of scores you have?
I thought we would shoot it better than we did tonight. I mean, gosh, we were 9 for 34 from 3. We don't take contested threes, so we're shooting 26% from the open 3-point line. you still win by 20, that's good defensive effort. We're better at the line, obviously. We can play fast, we can play big, and we can play skilled, and that's a good offense, right? And we're willing to play to the good shot, which it's really been spread out. We don't go into the game saying, all right, we want to make sure you and you and you and you and you each get 6 shots, right? But we want to take the best shot, and that typically means that you're playing out of closeouts, which means you have versatility.
Second round.
Coach, you talked about the importance of getting Maria the ball
Yeah.
and then it seemed like that was the key early, but at times it was like maybe that entry post from top of the key kind of went out of bounds 2 or 3 times. Is that something you got to clean up? Or
Big time. I mean, when Maria doesn't have wide hips, that's not going to change. That's how she came out, and that's how she is, right? So when you throw the ball really high in the air, it's like she's wearing like a 200-pound backpack, right? And another human being, and we're asking her to keep her on her back for that whole trajectory. That's not her strength, right? She's fast and she's long, so you got to throw it right at their face, right? So quite honestly, so yeah, those lofty passes are not in our arsenal. They're not passes I like, and they're passes that we'll continue to hate, and passes we'll continue to negate and try to take away from our offense.
How do you go about counteracting that? Do you just dribble into the corner more and more of a...
No, the corners aren't great. That's 2 defenders that don't have a heartbeat guarding you on each side. You have to be timing. You have to use pass fakes. You have to play away from the defense, but you have a defender on yourself too. So no, it's angles, and we'll continue to help them with their angles.
Well, Coach, Alyssa Usby moved up to number 23 all time at Carolina in scoring, I believe.
Oh wow, really? Okay, great.
So, but just with her in general, being
Yeah.
a graduate student, being around her, we talked about her last year at the ACC tip-off, looking ahead at last season.
Mhm.
What is most important about having her on this group as such a veteran leader?
She's incredibly selfless. She's your motor. She's a relentless competitor. How she plays is how she practices. So you can, when your best guy does that, gives you everything she has, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it lets you coach the rest of the team, right? And so she is, people that know our program well know that she is the jewel of it. But at the same time, she's so selfless. All she cares about is winning. If I ask her how many she scored tonight, she won't have any idea. All she cares is that we won, and then she moves on to the next one.
Second round.
With the non-conference schedule almost over, like how would you grade what this team has accomplished?
I hated the first quarter against UConn, hated it, right? Like the final 3. I didn't like the first half against Georgia Tech at all. And then we got one more really good team in Norfolk State. So that's basically 3 quarters that I've really hated out of 4 quarters. I mean, out of all the quarters that we played. So, I know a lot about these guys now. It's been a really challenging non-conference schedule because even the regional opponents have been solid. Yeah, for the most part, holistic I've liked. There are certainly quarters that I really hated, and that fuels us, honestly, and I've watched them back. As soon as you get comfortable, we remind them of what we were when we're not as locked into how we want to play.
Third round.
You just mentioned how selfless this team was. The players were just here and talked about the balance. How fun has it been as a coach coaching these players?
Awesome. I really like this team a ton. They defend, they have purpose, they're joyful, they're funny. But you can go from literally laughing to like, all right guys, lock in, and they just completely are there, right? They're willing to be coached, so if you ask them to change their angle, they're gonna try to do that, right? We wanted to get the ball out of our hands faster today, we threw the ball like out of bounds multiple times, right? But they're trying to do what we're asking them to do, take the steps. And everybody is totally singularly focused on winning through the whole operation. And that's really been fun. So they're not perfect, they're flawless, they're not flawless, but they're locked in and they're joyful and they like each other and they like their coaching staff. I mean, what else can I ask for?
Back to the room TV.
Coach, back here.
Yeah, Coach.
If you were able to learn one thing about your team from coming to this event, there's all this stuff going on, big name programs, multiple games going on, gifts, all that. That can help you going forward this year, what would it be?
I mean, I think what Maria said, it's one of the many reasons we can recruit to Carolina, right? Because people care about the brand, and you guys and the Jordan brand has taken really good care of us. And so with that sense of responsibility, I liked how they played with purpose. But this group really does that night in, night out, regardless of where we are. And so, but to go on the road and play, in a big arena that didn't feel as full sometimes as our own environment at home, and have to know that you're playing a Power 5, another Power 4 opponent after a loss, all that stuff adds to the journey. And everybody got playing time today, everybody contributed, so that's always a good thing.
Last question up front.
Can you speak to not only Lanie's confidence at 17, I mean, she's not shy about putting it up, she seems confident.
Yeah.
And then also Maria being able to outplay a center 3 inches taller than her.
Yeah, I'll start with Maria. She's just a problem. I mean, her footwork is impeccable. She's well conditioned. She's got really good touch. She now can go over her left side as well. I mean, she's gotten a lot better here. She's a much different player than she was last year, and I can't tell you how much work went into that with her physicality. Yeah, she's a problem. I like her against any matchup in the country at the post. You know, she's a really good post player, and you know, she keeps working, which is fun. And then Lanie, you know, we made sure when she decided to reclass that we weren't going to talk about confidence. We weren't going to talk about that. You're doing this, and there's no looking back, right? And so, as you learn and adjust to college basketball, it's never going to be imagine if I didn't come. We're not doing that, right? And so we were watching film in my room yesterday, and we talked about angles, and I showed her some defensive growth, and just told her I trust you on the offensive end. I'm not even going to talk about that end. I'm not going to show you your shots from practice the last 2 days. We're going to go through the angles. The kids totally locked in. I walked in, I guess, probably 8 o'clock on what time was it, Monday. And her and Blanca were both on the court, you know, getting their reps in and getting their work in. So she's totally locked in. So her confidence comes from preparation. And you know, she didn't skip her senior year in high school to lose, or to allow the circumstances to deteriorate her game, right? So I think the fact that she reclass is an area of strength for her, because I always look at her and say, hey, we did this. You know, she's ready to go.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Of course.